I feel like I'm in a dream, 'cause nothing is as it seems. I feel like I'm in a dream, but that's where I wanna be. I feel like I'm in a dream.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hand Jam, for sending it on in the track. First time viewer of the stream, thank you so much again for joining. So any feedback for Hand Jam, go and put that in the chat, what you liked and what you think could be improved about the song. And let's get a music production discussion started around this track. So a couple comments already. Definitely want to go over those. Last Ask Lassie says the guitar is a little bit off beat. Definitely agree here in the section. That's not quite in time with the rhythm that you have, with the tempo of the track. So definitely look to time stretch that to get it in time. That would be my suggestion. Or if you've recorded it yourself, then consider just re-recording it. But again, time stretching, the audio clip would be fine. What else here? So the drop is not so powerful, a little bit muddy. And then maybe it needs something. I would add some sort of chords to the build. So definitely when you're talking about a chorus or a drop or just any main section, if your build up doesn't set that section up properly, it'll be perceived differently. So if it's not set up in a way that lends itself to more power, then it'll seem weaker than it is. So definitely, what I'm trying to say is that definitely the build up I think could be improved here. So maybe even extending it out could work, another 4 bars. Drum builds could work. You could have a snare, you could have a hat, you could have both. You could have percussion that are just building up. Start with a quarter note, go into 8th note, 16th note, 32nd note, a bunch of different risers, sirens, all that sort of, all those effects could work really well. Also automation, EQing, like low cutting as the build-up goes on, and then bring back all the frequencies right before the drop hits. That could work as well. And that will definitely help with the chorus here. So, and as far as a drop, I also think it could use, I think overall the track needs more sounds. Last Ask Lassie says maybe add some strings to put some substance in the background. Definitely an element that you could add to this. But yeah, definitely overall, I just think it needs more elements in the track. Yeah, so strings and like the verses would work really well, maybe in here. Or something like that. What else? What was I going to say? More vocals. And the vocals in here, they're sounding great. Love them. Just add them throughout the track. They were really, you didn't hear them at all through the rest of the track. And it felt a little weird that they weren't playing. They sounded good with the song. Sounded good with the vibe. I definitely add in the vocals some more here. Also adding in some vocal effects. This will also help fill out the track. Add a lot of delays, reverbs. Take a spoken word. Take a specific word. Put it in a new track. Distort it. Put reverb on it. Give the track again more depth, more interest. So that's another thing that you could add along with the strings. More percussion, more drums are definitely needed, I think. They are pretty sparse. Definitely spice it up. I know you have some drum fills in there. You have the hats, kick, but overall more percussion playing throughout the song would work well here to add that groove and to keep the listener interested from start to finish here. Last thing I would say, the saws you have in the drop here. They sound pretty strained and thin. So I'd say add another layer, maybe take off some of the low cutting that you're doing. I think it needs more body, those saw synths that you have going. And it feels, I don't know, maybe like overly distorted or something. I think maybe just using a different synth that has a little more clarity, I would say, would work. Yeah. Maybe give that a try. So yeah, definitely things you could definitely do to improve the track. So hopefully that helps there, Hand Jam. Thank you so much for sending on in the tune. Again, I do appreciate it. And again, we are doing the free giveaway in this live stream. 47 concurrent viewers in the stream, and we're giving away the Synth Master Player. I need your help to get 47 concurrent viewers in here. Again, the Synth Master Player, 1,800 presets in one plugin. Can't beat it. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Bradley, are you still in the stream here? Let me know. We can go over your song right now. Bradley. If not, up next we have FECI 858. right. Thank you so much for sending on in the tune. Do appreciate it. Again, any feedback for FECI 858, go ahead and put that in the chat. What you think, or 585, FECI 585. Go ahead and put that in the chat. What you like and what you think could be improved about the song. So I love the future housey vibe, future bouncy vibe you had going. Definitely nailed the genre. Arrangement was solid. Had all the elements working well in a good time length. A 4-minute mark always works well for these types of club tracks. So as far as what I think could be improved, I think that definitely some mixing to the track is needed. Let's see, Music by Zen mentions that it's a bit muddy on the 150 hertz to 350 hertz range. I definitely think it could be improved a little bit. If we listen back here. What I think definitely could be improved here, I think it felt a little over limited and over compressed. Specifically, like the main synth you had going, the da na 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 na. I think that could definitely. I'm trying to think. Okay, you definitely use some EQing. So definitely solo the kick, the sub, and the bass line you have. It seems like the bass line that you have, I'll definitely want to look in the 150 to 500 hertz range for some mud. Do some notch EQing out of that. That'll open up the mix a lot. You know, from what I've noticed with working just with mid-ranges, low mid-ranges, is that a little goes a long way. I know that's so common. You hear that all the time in music production, a little goes a long way. But it really is true with muddiness. You know, let's take this time to go full screen. I was thinking about saving the full screen, but we'll keep the full screen alive here. So the full screen mode activated right now. Tip of the day. So when it comes to mid-range and low mid-range, and I'm talking about the 100 hertz to 500 hertz range, that range is very tricky to deal with. Why? Well, one, you often hear that many producers don't have enough of these frequencies. If you don't have enough in the 100 to 500 hertz range, your track will be flat. That's definitely not the case for this specific track, which is good. But that's where a lot of the power comes from in a track. The mid-range, you know, of course, if you don't have a sub, if you don't have, you know, any high end in your track, there's definitely a loss of power there. But definitely the mid-range is where a lot of the power comes from. Now, how I kind of trained my ears to hear what should be EQ'd is I really used iZotope's Neutron plugin and analyzed stems of professional songs to understand how mid-range affects your track. The 100 hertz to 500 hertz range, there really should only be a select few instruments that really carry this weight and power in this specific range, because it can get so muddy very quickly. Usually I'll just allocate this to one bass layer usually. And for this track, you definitely can hear that it has that one bass layer. That kind of like sawy, like grimy bass line. That's where most of the power comes from. That mid-range power comes from, is that sawy bass line. When you're working with other elements in your track, you want to be cognizant of EQing out frequencies in the 100 to 500 hertz range, so you let the specific instrument that is playing in that range shine through and not have those other instruments cause mud, as again, it can very easily cause mud. And what I have noticed from using iZotope Neutrons, the Smart EQ, is that range really causes a lot of mud, and that something like a 1 decibel cut in that range can make a huge difference for the clarity in your mix. So EQing that range could make your high end seem a bit brighter. It could leave room for your drums to be more impactful. It just lets other instruments breathe a lot easier, as that range it just muddies up a whole mix. And listening to other stems of professional songs is that they have, again, dedicated instruments to that specific frequency range and EQ out the 100, 500 hertz range in other instruments. So my suggestion would be to have a specific sound that plays in that 100 to 500 hertz range and is not causing too much, is not creating any mud in the mix. So soloing instruments such as the sub, the bass, the kick, all those instruments, group those together and do your EQing that way. And then again, reference with the entire track. You don't always want to reference, in solo. So listen to those elements by themselves and then listen to them all together with the entire track playing and figure out what frequencies you need to EQ. So it's really just to pay attention to that range. That is more important than many producers think. All right, here we go. End of rant for the day. All right, what else here? What else could I think be fixed? So yeah, EQing the muddy mix a little bit there. And let's see. So the track feels also a bit narrow. I know you have the hi-hats that are pretty spread, specifically in the drop. The saws, like the little clap type snap thing that you have going. The let's just have a listen. And the click that you have there, the kick, the saws are a little bit stereo spread, the bass line, it's all pretty mono. I would say spread more of the higher frequencies. As I go out with higher frequencies, I like to spread them more. So I think the saws can be spread a little bit more here. Even the bass line as well, just give a little more dimension to the track. Also, I think that some of the ear candy sounds, the drum fills, some effects are a little bit too loud in the mix. Compared to the main elements such as your lead, your bass sound. I think they're just a little too overpowering. You definitely want those ear candy sounds to pop out, specifically those drum fills, but when they're noticeably louder than the main elements in your track, then it's a little, it just throws off that dynamic range a bit here. So I would definitely listen back to some of the ear candy elements in your track and see about volume reducing a few of them here. All right, so hopefully that feedback helps there, and thank you so much. Do appreciate it. FECI 585. Thank you. All right, next up, music by Zen. You are up.
Who dares to waste 1 hour of his time has not discovered the value of life. A man who 1 hour of his life has not discovered the value of wasted. I like to waste it every fucking day. Wanna stay with my lady, all stop wasted. Forget about the issues we facing. Forget about the goals that we chasing. Wasted, I like to waste it every fucking day. Wanna stay with my lady, all stop wasted. Forget about the issues we facing. Forget about the goals that we chasing. Forget about the goals that we chasing. Forget about the ghosts that we chasing. Forget about the ghosts that we
Nice music by Zen. Awesome tune there. Loving it, loving it. It reminds me of a Skrillex track. I forget the name of it. I think it was one with like Joyride or something. I don't know, where he had like a drum, like drop. Worked really well. So any feedback for Zen, music by Zen, go ahead and put that in the chat. What you liked, what you think could be improved about the song. And again, don't forget, we are running the free giveaway of the Synthmaster player in this live stream. 47 current viewers in this stream, and we're giving away the Synthmaster player, 1,800 presets in this awesome synth. So invite your friends, let them know the awesome feedback they can get on their music and the synth that they could win. So definitely a club banger, this track. Definitely want to hear, I guess, is there more to this 242? Is this like the full length of the song? Do you have more parts planned to add to this? I definitely feel like it could be a little bit longer, maybe like a 3-minute mark, maybe like 3:20, something like that. But overall, absolutely killer tune. Let's see. So as far as what I think could be improved about the song, definitely think more vocals could have been in the song. So in the drop, there were no vocals at all. So vocals, they don't necessarily have to be a full vocal line in the drop. It can be vocal chants, shouts, stuff like that, spoken words, phrases, all shape or form of vocals. I think that really will add interest to this type of track. If you listen to songs that are in the very similar style or genre that you're working in here, you'll hear that in drops there'll be these very small ear candy vocal sounds that really add a lot to the track, that aren't necessarily a main event of the song, and maybe you wouldn't necessarily pay attention to or notice if they're there, but you definitely notice if they weren't there. So I definitely think that would work really well in the song. Also, let's see. I think also adding in maybe some sort of synth, some sort of melodic element, just something to contrast, I guess, just the drums, the 808 bass line and the drums that are playing. Yeah, I definitely think another instrument could work well in some capacity. Doesn't necessarily have to be playing the entire time. Maybe you could play a bar or so. That could work really well. Again, adding the vocals also. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else. What else? So I guess, yeah, you're fixing another, or you're creating another build-up here. One thing I would say, I feel like the drop could have also been a bit wider. So definitely a club track, definitely a track that you want to have a lot of power. I mean, the drop are drums. It seems like they're more mono, it's pretty much all monocentric. I think it needs more stereo interest. So I know you have some sort of like reverb type delay, something like that effect that is giving that stereo image a bit. But I think having the drums, the main drums in the drop, a little bit more stereo spread could work well. It doesn't necessarily have to be super wide. So a lot of people, when I say you can use stereo spreading, they think, oh, it needs to be spread across the entire track incredibly wide. No, just I think a little bit can go a long way here. Let's see. Could also mess around with some of the panning also. Good idea there, Last Lassie. There you go. Yeah, first 10 seconds of the drop as they are, and then some variation synth. Yes, that could work really well. Definitely. That's kind of what I was thinking. Okay, nice. Use a bunch of different sample loops that are stored and pitched like crazy. I think the samples are mono. Definitely, if you have 15 different loops, then try, stereo spreading some of them. I think that would really help out here. I think that might be even a little bit easier to get the stereo width that you want with having all these different loops, just because it'll create more dimensions. Some will be mono, some will be stereo spread. You'll get more width in the track while still maintaining the power that you want to for the drop. So I think that might work out well. I think it might just be mixing and matching. Gotcha. Yeah, those sort of things can be pretty finicky. Working with stereo imaging. Stereo imaging, I found, is really, all of mixing is like a puzzle piece, really. You have the made emotion theme that you want to go with your song, which is of course having the specific having the specific elements that you want in your track that have the timbre that you want and that are playing the notes and patterns that you want. And really mixing comes after you get that, and you put those pieces together. You put the theme together through mixing, and that can be quite a puzzle piece. Some pieces don't fit there, you move them around, so it can be a very a finicky process, time-consuming and tedious process. All right, sweet. So hopefully that feedback helps. There's just small pieces of feedback there that I think could take this track to the next level. So thank you again, Music by Zen, for sending on in this song. And I hope to see you in future live streams. All right. Next up, we have Mike Azar. Mike Azar, we're going over your song. How's it going, Christian? Thank you so much for stopping on by. Finally made it back home. Great to hear. All right, nice, Mike. Thanks for sending on in the trap tune here. So any feedback for Mike, go ahead and put that in the chat, what you liked and what you think could be improved about the song. So overall, love the vibe you had. I thought the synth right here was really cool. It's like a talking synth there. Worked really well in the song. Always works for hybrid trap songs. So what I think could be improved about it, definitely. Let's see what got in the chat here. Definitely some cool sidechain on the saw thing. Definitely need more sidechaining. Sidechaining to the kick and the snare. That's usually what I do in most electronic tracks. Kick and snare, kick and clap. That works really well to create that just kind of pumping type feel and more energy, as well as cleaning up the mix a bit. People forget that sidechaining does help clean up a mix as well as create that rhythm. So definitely something to consider there. What else here? The 808, I don't know if it needed tuning. I didn't quite catch that. It sounds okay to me. I don't necessarily think it might. I don't think it needs tuning. I don't know. Maybe it's the pitching that you heard. The different pitching, the going up and down. Maybe that kind of seemed like it kind of was throwing off the pitch a bit. I will say with the sub, the 808 bass, that it could be louder in the mix. It's not quite as powerful. You can definitely hear that when the little talking synth comes in. The talking synth is much louder than the 808 bass, and in trap tracks, the 808 bass is really paramount. It really carries the song. It is the foundation for the song. It's the sub, it's the mid-range, and it really needs to be hitting hard to really translate well on a bigger system. So more volume in the 808 sub is definitely necessary for this. And I would also recommend reducing the volume of the talking synth here, as well as EQing it, as I feel is a bit muddy in the mix, the 100 to 500 hertz range. Of course, reducing the volume of the overall synth could definitely help with this, and you might not need to do EQing if you reduce the volume of it. Once again, when you have just any sound at different volume levels, your perception of the different frequency ranges will change according to the Fletcher-Munson curve. So again, different frequency ranges will be perceived at different levels. So definitely something to keep in mind. Just Google Fletcher-Munson curve. That way you have a better understanding of the specific frequency ranges and how they change through volume levels. So again, the point being that, if you reduce the volume of it, it might not be too muddy in the mix at that point. So definitely reduce the volume first and then see if it needs to be EQ'd in the 100 to 500 hertz range. Let's see what else we got here. Sub too low said that drums. Some of the drums were out of time. I don't know if he had a sample, a loop going, but some were out of time. I believe it was the snare. Yeah, that right there was out of time. Definitely get that back in time. What else? Too many high mids resulting in harshness, sharpness, especially with the talking lead goes on too long as well. Definitely who blows there. High mids, I guess. I really feel like it was just the volume of the synth that made it seem kind of sharp. I don't think there was too many high. I guess what do you classify as high mid? What frequency range is high mid? But definitely goes on too long. I definitely agree here. Definitely. You need to break it up. I believe you have it just kind of playing through multiple sections without really any change at all, and it kind of just feels like a repetitive loop and needs more dynamic interest. Take it out right in this section right here. High cut it. Put some reverb on it. Give it more dimension. Give it more give it more dynamics as the track goes on. Okay, like 2,500 to like the 8,000 kilohertz. I don't know. At least to me, it didn't sound that bad. But again, you know, the perception will change once the volume is lower. So I guess it's really hard to tell what specific frequencies need to be EQ'd right now. All right. And the arrangement, finally, I think the arrangement could be changed a little bit here, specifically in this section. It kind of just feels like a random section was included here. Also, I feel the arrangements, I feel like it needs to have more defined sections. I think adding in more transition effects, more automation on the elements going in from transition to transition would help with this, to signify to the listener that a new section is coming. Adding in more variation to your elements, I think that would really help. Again, more dynamic interest, like the bell sounds you had in the background, the synth sounds you had in the background. I think those could have been changed up a bit. Add in effects, again, automation, that works really well. It needed to feel like it was moving along more. It felt a bit stagnant, even though you could definitely hear different sections. Wasn't quite as convincing. And I think, again, transition effects, transition automation on the different elements that you have already in the track would help with this. All right. Yes, definitely loudness. That's, usually why, when I first mix, the very first step of mixing, I usually do the gain staging. The gain staging, setting the individual levels of individual elements, because that will start to dictate what I EQ. Again, you can have an element that's incredibly loud in the mix. If I put it incredibly loud in the mix, it'll sound more muddy. And I'll do EQing. If I have that lower in the mix, then it might not sound muddy, and I won't do EQing. So it has a direct impact on what you EQ, the gain staging of your track, that is the volume levels of the specific elements and group of elements in your song. So thank you again, Mike Azar, for sending on in the tune. Do appreciate it, for coming on by again for another week, and hopefully the feedback helped you out here. All right, Beat Hunters, you are up next here. Beat Hunters, are you in the stream right now? Max, I believe you're in the stream. Okay, sweet. Avenged 13, I have no idea where you are. I don't have a name for Avenged 13 in the email. There's no tag saying Avenged 13, so I don't know if it's you or not. All right, Max. Awesome. Thank you for sending on in the work in progress. Definitely on your way with this big room house track. So let's give Max some feedback here on what he could add in this section here in the drop section. Any feedback on what type of synths, what type of basses, effects, anything that you could add in this section. Yeah, so definitely Last Ass Lassie. He hasn't filled out the full drop yet. So yeah, any feedback on what he could add there, Last Ass Lassie? Let's see. You know, it's funny, when the drums came in here, I was gonna say, oh, you can add in that doom, 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 doom. Those kind of like tom fills, and you already added that in here. I was like, that would fit in perfectly. What I think could be added is definitely those layered synths. I know you have those like supporting chords that come in every now and then. The dun, dun. I definitely think some really like screaming lead could work really well. Something that is saw wave based and is distorted. That would work really well with a lot of legato. That sort of vibe would work really well. Adding in those vocal chants to help support it. The percussion that you have in there seems fine. Maybe add in some impacts. That was, you know, that classic. You guys know what I'm talking about. That classic. Is that getting annoying yet? It probably is getting annoying. But yeah, that's sort of like impacts or drum fills. That's another thing that could be added in. Small little drum fills. Maybe even a ride on top of like the clap that you have going. Maybe even some offbeat hi-hats that also could work. What else? It will not be a long wait. I believe we only have a few tracks in the queue right now. So no, not a long wait. Pluck synth, that could work really well also. Definitely. A pluck synth, that screaming lead, really big super saws, that could work really well. Yeah, like layered super saws have different types of saw wave based synths. You can pick it from different synthesizers, layer them up. So again, a bunch of different things that you could add to this drop to make it really impactful. A lot of different avenues you can go down. But so far, yeah, definitely the foundation is there. Once you add that synth, it'll definitely start to sound like a rockin' track there. So let's see. Yeah, so just continue on with it. You're on the right track, and hopefully those ideas helped. Definitely try out different versions, I would say, to see what works well with different elements. Usually I like to get a few different versions of a song. Maybe I have one idea and I run with that, and then I also have another idea when I see if that works well. Oftentimes you don't know if a specific idea will sound better, sound worse. It's always best to try out different ideas. You know, music production really comes down to experimentation. Experimentation helps you train your ears, and music production is all about ear training, knowing what sounds good, where, why you should do it. And really experimenting is the only way to train your ears for you to actually do it yourself. That's why I recommend having different drops, really experimenting with the different ideas. Then you can hear, okay, this is what this kind of pluck lead sounds like. This is what this type of screaming lead sounds like. This is what this type of saw based huge super saw sound sounds like. And yeah, I definitely think that is the way to go about it. All right. Nice. Definitely something that you do. I definitely think you get a good drop lead in here, Max. Thanks again for joining this stream here. All right, Avenged 13 is up next.
Name in the sky, does it ever get lonely? Thinking you could have found me. Thinking you could have found me. Thinking you could have found me. So no eyes. Thinking you could have found me. Thinking you could have found me. Thinking you could have
Nice, Avenged 13. Thank you so much for sending on in the tune. So any feedback for Avenged 13, go ahead and put it in the chat. What you liked, what you think can be improved about the song. So definitely really love the vibe. Love that kind of future bass-y vibe a little bit there. Had some saws in there, had the vocal chops. So really working well. And melodies worked really well in the song. So as far as what I think could be improved about the song, I definitely think some of the vocal chops actually. Let's see. I think that's the synth. That kind of synth. It almost sounds like a vocal chop. That kind of like stuttery sound. I think that could be. I don't think it's necessary at all in the track, really. I think, with the vocals playing, I think, that provides enough interest in the high end, as well as really the theme of the song. If you want to have them in there, though, I definitely think they need to be mixed in a bit better, as they are dominating too much of the mix and causing an imbalance and making the other elements, specifically the vocals, seem like they're in the background. The vocals are the most important part of the song, of every single song. Specifically, mainly if you have, a vocal line playing, they're what you want the listener to hear the most of. And when that synth comes in, it is a bit, you can't hear the vocals as well. You can't understand what she's saying. So I would leave that little synth as a background element. Reduce it in volume a lot, put some reverb on it, put some delay on it, and let it be a background element, and let the vocals come through in the mix a bit better. I think that's what would serve the track best here. A little bit, yeah. They do kind of sound like two tracks playing together a bit. Thank you so much for the follow there, Zhuz. How do I pronounce that? Zhuz Huge. Thank you so much. Do appreciate it. So yeah, definitely I think that would help here. What else? Yeah, I really don't think that synth or that vocal chop is really needed at all. You have, the pianos playing and it's providing the melodic elements. I think it's just, I think you maybe tried to add too much to the track. I think without it, it's already, it has enough interest and it has enough harmonic content in there and enough instruments playing across the frequency spectrum that I think you have a full enough song. I just think making the elements that you have a bit more impactful in the mix, separating them a bit with more EQing would help to clean up the muddy mix a tiny bit. That's what I'm saying. Let me go ahead and leave a tutorial here for help cleaning up a muddy mix. I think that would help out this song. I'll put that in the chat here. Check out this tutorial video. I think it definitely help out. Yeah, I think that it's good already without that, that synth, that vocal sound, and just highlighting the elements that you already have could work really well for this type of song. So hopefully that feedback helps there. Maybe some unexpected feedback that you didn't think you would get, but yeah. Hopefully that helps. I'll move on here. Moving on up the ladder. Omer, you are up next. Nice, loving the song, loving the song. Omer, thank you so much for sending it on in. Do appreciate it. Any feedback for Omer here, go ahead and put that in the chat. What you liked, what you think could be improved about this song. Really cool, like blend of genres here. You had like the cool like drum and bass, or like chill like drums there. You had like the future bass E kind of dubstep-y drop. Worked really well for this song. I thought the length of the track was great, interesting from start to finish. Really interesting since you had in the drop. That really helped carry the song and provide that power and emotion and yeah, the interest that you want it to. So excellent, excellent, excellent. Let's see. Yeah, so get any feedback, go ahead and put that in the chat, what you liked and what you think can be improved about this song. Okay, you think the vocals are a bit muddy there, happening. I definitely think the vocals here did get a little drowned out. I would definitely think, you know, when you're thinking about vocals, you definitely want them to sit more on top of the mix. You do have some competing sounds in the mix here. Those synths definitely share same frequency ranges. Both the power from the synth and the vocals lie on the same frequency range. I would recommend EQing the synths a little bit and raising the volume of the vocals a little bit. Okay, nice. Okay, so you worked on this track with Omer there happening. Gotcha, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, definitely sit on top of the mix a bit more. I think maybe I was going to say, I think the track maybe is a little bit too bright with the synths, but I think it might be okay. I was kind of feeling that through the track, but listening back, I think it sounds okay. What I think can be changed, though, is part of the arrangement in the second drop. I think it could be changed a little bit, just to give a little more interest to it. A little just, I wouldn't say interest, because it is interesting. I would say just to signify to the listener that this is the last drop, I would say. So changing the patterns maybe a little bit, maybe adding in another layer on one of the synths, a higher pitch layer, a lower pitch layer, just to give more power to the song, and again to signify to the listener that this is, you know, it's a new drop, it's the last drop. I think that's really what is needed in the second drop there. Okay, the rhythm is changed in the second drop. Which rhythm? The rhythm of the synth, the drums? Right, yeah, the respace has changed there. Yeah, I would say maybe it's another layer. Make it a little more different. So you don't necessarily have to add like a new sound, I would say. You could experiment with that, but I wouldn't say you necessarily had to add a new sound. Again, maybe a little more variation in the rhythm to make it even more obvious, I would say. I guess it was a little bit harder for me to tell if there was a rhythm change there because, yeah, the synths are interesting and they are playing a, I guess, more unique rhythm, I would say. The interplay between the and the wah. So, yeah, just signify it as the last drop. Said that like 10 times. But yeah. And lastly, I think there could be some sort of more like drum fills to break up the drop a little bit more here. And so I would say louder with the drum fills. So you do have some tom fills that come in there right in between the sections with the synth and the bass line. Just highlight it a bit more. I just think, yeah, more impactful. As yeah, I didn't notice him quite at first. So really signify to the listener that, okay, we're going into a new section here. This is like the part B section. This is the call. This is the response. You got the call, the blam dum dum dum, and the response, the dun 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 dun. Really signify to the listener that you're going into the response. That way, you're highlighting the contrast in the sections a bit more, which will create a more dynamic mix. So again, yeah, you do have the drum fills there. Just highlight them a bit more. Sweet. So yeah, definitely. I mean, just some fine tuning, really. Just some very fine tuning. The idea there is there. The arrangement's really there. Just some small little things to help take it to the next level is what is needed for this. And you guys are definitely on your way. So thank you for sending on in the tune. And hope to see you in future live streams. Hopefully the feedback was helpful. All right, Nick, you are up. Good to see you back in the stream here. Back with another one. Wait, is who blows there still in the stream here? Nick, are you still in the stream here? I didn't see you in the list. Sometimes the list doesn't update very well. You can always see who's in the stream with the little list icon at the bottom of the chat, but it doesn't always update for who's actually in the stream. Just make sure you're in here. Who blows there? I saw you in here a second ago. Maybe you had to leave or something. Let me know. And I can hit the play button again. Happening. Thank you so much. To appreciate the follow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I guess Who Blows There is not in the stream anymore. Again, Nick, Who Blows There, if you're in the stream, let me know and we can go over your song. If not, then we will go on over it right now. We'll go over Julian Fisher. Julian Fisher, you in the stream? Let me know if you're in the stream. Zoo. 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 Okay, sweet. Oh, there you go. That's you. Gotcha. Should have known that. Should have guessed that. So again, last call here, Nick Sherman. Who Blows There? Let me know if you're in the stream, and we can go over your song. Omer, thank you so much for the follow as well. Again, hope the feedback on your tune helped. Loving it. What do you guys have planned for that song? You gonna shop around with labels? Gonna self-release it? What do you guys have planned with your song? All right, here we go. Zoo. Awesome, Zuzu. Thank you so much for sending on in this chill trap tune. Any feedback for Zuzu, go ahead and put that in the chat. What you liked, what you think would be improved about the song. Definitely something I want to talk about. Advantages of releasing on a label and self-releasing. I'll get to that in a second here happening. But let's get to the track feedback first. I think, I love the vibe. Love those type of lush melodic vibes. You got the piano, you got the guitar coming in on the second part of the second drop. The percussion, the organic percussion that works so well for the track. You mentioned that you definitely think there's some issues with the mix. I definitely agree. I definitely think your ideas could have been, or I definitely think the track could have been a lot. You could have shown the ideas a lot better with a little bit better mixing here, and here's what I think could be improved about the mix. First of all, the mid-range. I think the mid-range was missing. You have the kick, you have the high end, but the mid-range, the 100 hertz, the 500 hertz, that part was really missing. Now, I noticed you did have a bass line in there, but I don't think it was quite loud enough, and it was kind of more of a sub-E type bass, so not really leaking as much into the mid-range. So I think maybe having I think adding another layer that is just a saw wave based synth and just high cutting it and taking out the high frequency so it doesn't give it that buzz. But it has that mid-range, again, that 100 to 500 hertz range. You want to fill that out a bit more to really fill out this track. I think the side chain could have been a little bit stronger on this track, especially when you add in this saw bass line. If you add in this saw layer bass, definitely you want a little bit more groove in there so it doesn't also muddy it up, but also again adds the groove. I think that the one of the bass notes was also felt off. It didn't feel like it was playing like almost in key, or it was in key, it just wasn't the right note. I think I forget what note it was. Just listen to the bass line again. Listen to the solo, the bass that you have in the mix, and solo the melodic elements that you have in the mix, and listen to see if they match up. Because again, I feel like one of the bass notes is off. So definitely something to look into. And again, adding that layer of the saw wave-based synth layer will help fill out the track. Adding this a little stronger side chain. What else? And I think, let's see. I think the percussion was a little bit too loud also. It was a little bit too loud, specifically the ones on the sides. Those seem just too loud compared to the other elements in the mix. Also, I think overall these elements in the mix need to be just mixed in a bit more clearly. They needed more separation in the frequency spectrum and the stereo field. So a lot of the elements were more monocentric. They definitely had stereo imaging on them. They were just more in the center. It seemed like you needed to work the panning a bit more. With this lush ambient atmosphere, think more separation in sounds. Think more reverb. Think more delay. Think lush. Think separation. So definitely move around the elements in the stereo field. That's one suggestion here, to widen up the mix, to make it more interesting, and to create separation in the mix. Elements could be conflicting if they're all playing in the center, but even if you pan them a little bit left, a little bit right, it could help clean up the mix and without having to do any EQing. I also think EQing needs to be done, EQing a muddy mix. I'll go ahead and leave that tutorial. I think this will help solve some of those problems, just to create more separation in the mix. I think that's really what is needed. Like I said, there were a few conflicting frequencies, but separation is needed. Separation is needed in the mix, and I have just, again, this tutorial for that, how to EQ a muddy mix. It's not only how to EQ a muddy mix, but to create that separation. Well, EQing a muddy mix creates separation, so I mean, that's go hand in hand, I guess. But yeah, definitely check out this tutorial, and I think you are well on your way by applying the tutorial and the tips that I mentioned. So hopefully that feedback helps there. Okay, so back to the label and the blog, like self-release discussion here. Christian says, in my opinion, going without a label for the struggle stage grants you the best results at a later point, also because of the increased leverage that you gain this way. So I mean, so when you say, okay, we'll go back to the track feedback real quickly. So boost mild frequencies, like I said, it's just adding another layer, I think. I don't necessarily think it's boosting. Yes, I prefer to listen to ideas, I would say, on this stream. Omer, if you're talking to me. Awesome, yeah. And again, if you, if I listen to your track, gave feedback, you can always watch the stream over again. Just go onto the SoundShock Audio Twitch channel, go into videos, and the previous video will be up there for about a few weeks, I believe. And also, I post every single live stream on the SoundShock Audio YouTube channel, and those will just be up there forever. So you can watch the feedback, you can watch the stream again, and see the feedback that I gave, and to see if you want to implement that into your track. So don't worry, if you missed something or you didn't take note of something, you can always rewatch it at a later point in time. So definitely agree with Christian's viewpoint that definitely starting out without a label is definitely the way to go. I wouldn't say that labels are good and bad, I would say. It's like definitely when you're starting out, the chances of you getting on a very big label are very low unless your music is that good. But oftentimes when you're just starting out, when you're starting a new project, your music isn't quite ready for that yet, which is fine. When starting out, it's really about building an audience. If your music is that good, the labels will definitely take it. But let's say your music is good. It's not quite, your best music, but you have a solid following. You have, people who are interested in your music. You're consistent with your social media platforms as far as posting, as far as like just having an audience that you interact with and that you are yourselves as artists, that you present your artist project in a way that captivates other people. Then the label will start to look at you more as someone more that they would want to sign. Really, when it comes down to when you're first starting a project, it's building a fan base. And the best way to do that is really get on to blogs, different channels, different YouTube channels, different SoundCloud channels, Spotify playlists, stuff like that. That's really where you can start to build a following. I think that's really the way to go. As again, you'll have more leverage also when you have this fan base, because you won't necessarily need the label because you already have a fan base. Part of getting on a label is also getting some sort of fan base to listen to your music as well. But if you already have one, then you already have some leverage there, and it's not necessarily you need the label to survive. Definitely in today's musical climate, self-releasing music is really very easy. You can get your music on Spotify, iTunes, all the major platforms without having a label, and you can do it pretty easily. There are a bunch of different ways you can do that. A quick Google search will help you find out how to self-release music. Let's see. So yeah, I would just recommend really building out a fan base through blogs, channels, just other free methods, and also just again self-releasing the music. You could always go to blogs, to labels, all that, and also self-release the music as well. And you wouldn't need the label. Also remember, labels take a percentage of your profits there. So if you're self-releasing your music and you have an audience, then you're getting all the profits, all the royalties, and you're not sharing them with a label. So that's another thing to keep in mind as well, especially when they sign artists. They remember, again, taking money. It is not you. The glasses do make me look really cool. Thank you for pointing that out there, Christian. Okay, then yeah, if the money doesn't matter, then I would not. I would try the self-release then for now. I'll definitely start out with that. And again, you can always shop around for labels at a later point in time. It's not like once you make the decision to self-release, that doesn't mean you're stuck self-releasing forever. You can always reach out to labels at any point in time if you feel like you want to. So, all right, moving on here. Da 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 da. 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 Thank you so much for the follow there, Minor Baby Beans. Do appreciate it. Thanks for stopping on by. And actually, we do not have any more music in the queue right now. That's actually it. That is actually it. They are special glasses. They are like these glasses, for all of you who are wondering, who've seen me in the stream before, have never seen me wear glasses. These are those computer glasses that have that orange tint in them to block the blue light from just destroying my eyes and just making me go blind. Yeah, we definitely have time for another song or two. Feel free to send it on over. We are getting to the ending stages of the stream, but again, we do have a little bit of time. So we ran out just at the end here. It is what it is. Yeah, send on over a track, Christian. That'd be awesome. So that's the other pro tip for the day. Also, you know what, these glasses, you can stare at your computer screen for longer. So as music producers, we just stare at the screen forever and just, that's what I look like when I produce music, by the way, everyone. But you're staring at the computer screen for so long, you're locked into an idea, and 5 hours go by. Well, when you stare at a computer screen, you blink less. You blink less, and the blue light has something to do with that keeps you awake, and your eyes don't function as well, and they get tired faster. With these glasses that help remove some of the blue light, it definitely allow your eyes to function properly, and you are blinking more, and you are, of course, reducing the blue light strain, so you can produce longer with less fatigue, more music, more musical ideas down, more music finished, more music released. You guys get the idea. Here we go. I know that's why you all came to this stream, is for me to give you guys facts about blinking and how to blink. All right. Sweet. Okay, Prince. Prince, you are up. Thank you for sending on over the track. So let's go over it. Nice, DJ 90. Nice, nice, nice. That was Minor Baby Beans. So any feedback for Minor Baby Beans, go ahead and put that in the chat. What you like to be thinking improved about the song. So love that like 80s vibe. Worked really well. What type of track? As far as what I think we improved with, so this art that you had at the very end here. Or that second ARP that you have. I think it could definitely be added more as a main element somewhere in here. So that's a shame that it only came in at the very end of the track. Definitely want to hear more of it. It could definitely be a main element in the song. So definitely think about adding that. Let's see. And the soft background synth melody made me think of another kind of old movies. Not porn. More like those detective movies or something with mirrored murders. Yeah, definitely. They always have those, those 80s cop movies always have that weird kind of porny music. I mean, all 80s music can kind of sound porny. Not corny, porny. Like porn. If you think about it. I remember, I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of 80s music. I don't know, do you guys like 80s music? You guys fans of 80s music? If so, what is your favorite 80s music? Artist? Song? Everyone says they love 80s music, but I don't think it's that great, to be honest. Okay, so let's see. I think variation in the drums, a little more variation in the arrangement is definitely needed. Effects, transition effects, some automation in the synths you already have from transition, going from transition to transition will help out the song. More percussion in the track, some hats I think would work well, some other type of percussion, toms, something like that I think would work really well. As you have like kind of the main theme working here, but it just needs a little more polishing, a little more interest to carry throughout the entire song. And I also think some variation in the ARP, have it not play for a second, maybe have a bass line playing. Just the ARP kept going for the entire track, and I just think breaking it up at some point in the arrangement would help. Just again highlight the sections of the arrangement, as well as give interest, as well as just make it more dynamic. Once you take away the ARP and bring it back in, it'll seem more impactful. So I think that's really what the track is missing. So hopefully that helps there. Nice, there you go, 80s hair bands. 80s hair bands. I always, as far as 80s music is concerned, there are definitely, no problem there, Minor Baby Beans. Happy that you were able to send it on in your track. And again, hopefully the feedback helps there. Yeah, I remember, like, there's always those 80s songs that, those really popular 80s songs that are pretty good, that you like, that you're okay with. But have you actually listened to a large amount of 80s music that aren't the top hits? When I was living in Rome, I lived in an apartment complex that had a radio station right next to it. Well, actually not next, in the apartment complex. And I knew the person that ran it. And in the radio station, it was a really old guy. He was like in his 80s, and he had just cabinets full of American 80s music, records. He had records. And I was like, well, damn, if he has all these records, I definitely need to start sampling some stuff. I mean, this is just a crate digger's gold mine here. And it was really all 80s music, and it was not the top hits 80s music. And I listened to a large amount of 80s music. Tons of records. I don't even know how many records I listened to. But 80s music is kind of bad. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I gotta tell you, besides the big hits of the 80s, it's pretty stale, pretty tacky, cheesy. I'm just not a fan. Just not a fan. Okay, here we go. Omer, we got another song from you here. So let's go. Nice, loving it, loving it, loving it, loving the dubstep track. Loving that cinematic type dubstep track. Really great job. Another great tune, guys. Great, great, great work. So any feedback, go ahead and put it in the chat. What you liked, what you think can be improved about the song. We will run the stream for about another 15 more minutes here. We'll have a chance to get through a couple more tracks here. Let's see here. So yeah, like definitely a solid track. I only have a few pieces of feedback that I think could help improve the song. Small feedback. So in the drop, everything was kind of wide. There was no real contrast stereo image wise. If you listen to a lot of dubstep tracks, there's definitely, at least from what I've heard, there's a little more contrast in the stereo imaging. So usually what I hear is more of the supporting bass sounds be the stereo image sounds, and the other sounds are more monocentric. And I think the track would have more impact if some more of the sounds were more monocentric, and you had some more of the supporting basses be stereo spread. Now, let me see. Like that, whatever that was right before the right before that synth came in, I think that like sounds like that could be stereo spread more. But the main sounds, Yeah, I just think it's a bit too wide. I think it's just a bit too wide. I think there needs to be more contrast. I think that's really what it is. It's just a mixing style, I would say. I don't necessarily think it's wrong that you guys have it like stereo spread like that. Like it's clear. I mean, you could hear the sounds. It's not like it's muddy. I just think it would be more impactful. I'll just say that. We'll say that. And also, again, mono equals power. Remember that. Mono equals power. I remember, what's it called? Culprit would always, in his live streams, hammer that home. That mono equals power, and that is true. So I think that would add a little bit more power if you had more monocentric elements. And also it would highlight more of the supporting elements if you had them be more stereo spread and they contrast those more monocentric main bass elements. What else? Well, that's good if it sounds good in mono already. Definitely a good sign. Let's see. I think I have one more thing I wanted to say about this that I forgot. I think the length of the second drop could have been longer. And I feel like you could use a different section also. With just like maybe new sounds or a completely new pattern. I think it needed a new section, a new drop section. Yeah, the second drop, it just felt too short. I know it was just... That's just my feeling from the dubstep tunes that I've listened to. More variation, something longer. Try different sounds. Try a completely different pattern with the sounds that you already have. See what works best. I think that's really what is needed from when I heard it. The arrangement didn't feel right to me in that respect. I'll just say that. But yeah, I mean, you guys are definitely have some solid productions here. So just nitpicking here to try and see if I can get you to get the track that extra couple percent better. Okay, nice. You tried to double the drops. Couldn't really come up with anything too good though. Nice. Well, glad that you randomly clicked. Glad you randomly clicked here. Hopefully you guys will come back for future live streams. Hopefully the feedback at least helps. Again, the feedback isn't to sit up here and say, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's, as long as you think about your song in a different way from the feedback that I give, so not necessarily you implementing the feedback that I give, although, of course, I think my feedback is good, or else I wouldn't say it. I think that's something that could be changed, or else I wouldn't say it. I'll say that. As long as you think about your song in a different way, then I think I've done my job. Because that really is what it is about. When you're working on your own song, when you're working with someone or by yourself, you've listened to the song over and over, and just any small idea that comes from someone else that triggers something in some way to help you improve the track is valuable, in my opinion. All right, here we go. Who we got? Shadow Bishop.
I'm sorry that I'm never home, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm so far gone, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm always wrong, yeah. I'm sorry that you cry alone, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm never home, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm so far gone, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm always wrong, yeah. I'm sorry that you cry alone, yeah. Late nights with the lights off. Who are you when the drugs wear off? Damn. I'm thinking this ain't real. I'm sobered up, so time to pop another pill. Faded, yeah, I'm faded. Mama raised a rock Damn. I'm sorry that I'm never home, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm so far gone, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm always wrong, yeah. I'm sorry that you cry alone, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm never home, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm so far gone, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm always wrong, yeah. And I'm sorry that you cry alone, yeah. I know you didn't deserve it. And I'm sorry that you're always hurting. I'ma get you out this town, yeah, one day. So we can give a fuck what they all say. I'm a wild boy, I know you worried. You tell me slow down, live life, don't hurry. Cause things pass by and it's blurry. And one day you two will be hurting. I know that it's a fast life. I just wanna make it in your eyes. I know that they pray for my demise.
Dear God.
But one day we will be alright.
Damn right.
I'm sorry that I'm never home, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm so far gone, yeah. I'm sorry that I'm always wrong, yeah. I'm sorry that you cry alone, yeah.
Nice, nice, loving it, loving it, loving it. So did you just Shadow Bishop? Did you produce the song? Did you just rap on it? Did you do everything? What did you do on the song? So any feedback for Shadow Bishop and his hip hop tune? Go ahead and put that in the chat. What you liked and what you think of me improved about the song. Christian says, I think you would get better results with a more confident vocal performance and less processing. In my opinion, you went too hard on the vocal modulation. Okay, nice. You did everything. Nice, nice, nice. Always good to see artists singing, rapping on their own tracks, as well as producing the songs. That's really where the full creativity comes into play. So great job with the song. Definitely nailed the vibe for the track. Kind of the more laid back, more mellow type of tune. The guitar is going, have the nice chill drums going. At least, with the guitar going and the tone of your voice, it gave that more chill vibe. Let's see. So, what do you mean by more confident performance? Just something more articulate? There, Christian. What exactly do you mean by that? I definitely agree that the modulation in the vocals is a little bit too much. Yeah, I definitely think it was a little bit too much. Try lessening it. I think just making the vocals a little bit clearer in the mix would be better, and less of that modulation effect. Clear saturation, a little bit of distortion, over-the-top compression, that sort of thing, just to make them slightly more aggressive. I think they could be a little bit more aggressive. Okay, got you. About the speed, it sounds like a fast Hammond organ rotary cabinet. Gotcha. I can see that a little bit. So I think, less modulation and more aggression. What I've noticed with hip-hop tracks, even if it is a more laid-back hip-hop track, is that the vocals are rather aggressive. More so than any other genre of music, I would say, for the most part. They're just more aggressive, and how you get that aggression is just, again, more saturation, compression, distortion through it to have it shine through. I think maybe going with that effect rather than more the modulation type effect, auto-tune or whatever type of effect you have on there would be best for the song here. So I think that's something to consider. What else? Okay, with more cojones. Gotcha. Gotcha. As far as the music goes, definitely nailed it. I think maybe adding a little more variation into the arrangement, maybe have sections where you highlight some instruments, highlight more maybe just the vocals playing. Give a little more interest in the arrangement. I think that's what is needed, and changing the vocal processing a little bit. And I think that's really where you could squeeze a little bit out of this track a bit more. So nothing major, just some minor adjustments. I think can go a long way here. All right. Awesome. Glad you're loving the feedback. Hopefully it helps. Hopefully it improves your track. Hopefully you can implement it, or some can change the way in some way, can change the track in some way that could help you out. So thank you again, Shadow Bishop, for sending on in the tune. Really do appreciate it. Jack Williams, you are up next. Jack Williams, are you in the stream? I believe you should be, because you just sent in the track. Let me know if you're in the stream. We can go over it. Shitport, are you in the stream? Shitport. Shittyport. The Shitport. Fried Rice official. It is official. You are now following SoundShock Audio on Twitch. Thank you so much, Fried Rice. I love fried rice. Fried rice is amazing. All right, Fried Rice. That is you, Shitport. Correct? Correct there? Or are you just saying Shitport, baby? Is it? Wait, is this your music? Fried Rice official? Shitport? Okay. I wasn't sure. Okay, here we go. Loving it, Fried Rice. Loving it. Loving the rhythm track there. Sending feedback for Shitport for Fried Rice official. Go and put that in the chat. What you liked it, what you think could be improved. Do you want me to roast you? I can definitely do that. So, well, first off, that little like key sound you have there with the bass pad, that worked really well. So I can't roast you for that, because I thought that really set the tone for the track, was really cinematic and really, yeah, was definitely on point. I will say though, the length of the build-up here, it just felt like it dragged on a bit too much. I think you could have gotten to the build-up a little bit sooner. You know, you had the ARP come in, but it didn't feel like it was going really anywhere. It felt like it could have got where it went to sooner. Shorten it up, I think would work really well. Also work on the build-up a bit more. I think the build-up wasn't quite, it was just a kick going up, and you had the bass coming in. Also the bass was a bit too loud in the build-up. It was much louder than all the other elements in the track, and it was just throwing off the dynamics of the track. So reduce that in volume. Riser effects, other type of drum build-ups work really well. Hats, something like that. Percussion, that works really well. Also, I think the transition from the build-up to the drop could have been improved. Maybe just add in a blank, or just kind of like a bar or 2 beats before the drop. Have a drum fill come in, have a vocal play, have something go, just to signify to the listener that, okay, boom, we're going into it. That sort of thing. What else? Like crashes, maybe other hats, rides, I think have been added to add just more sizzle to the track, add more energy. Those crashes really add energy, are really important with rhythm. Rides and crashes are really important with rhythm and dubstep. Again, they add that just sizzle and energy. So consider adding those. The ringing sound, that was pretty cool. I liked it. It needs to be mixed in a bit better. It needs to be mixed a little bit more in the background. It is a bit muddy in the mix. Yeah, I mean, with rhythm dubstep, you have just very few elements playing at one time, so you can definitely squeeze it in and still have it be impactful in the mix. You don't have to have it really competing. It's competing with the bass a little bit, is what I'm trying to say. And your bass is the main event there, so you want that to be noticeable first and have the other ringing sound be in the background. So hopefully the feedback helps there. Fried Rice Official definitely has some good things going on in the track, so didn't need to fully roast you there, but definitely some improvements could be made for the song. Cabes, you are up. Cabes, you are up. All right, Cabe's music, and thank you so much for sending it on in. To appreciate the what would you call this? It's like future tune, future. That's what it is, a future tune. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, I love the vibe you had going. I love the build up here. Lots of cool instruments. What was this? I don't know, like the organic percussion. Like I don't know what like instrument that was. I can't like mimic it. It was good. It definitely got you into the melodic vibe. It definitely worked well with the drop, kind of setting each other up. Really, I want to talk mostly about the drop. The drop was a bit confusing. You notice I played the drop again. it was hard to get a main theme from the drop. There was so many elements flying everywhere. I mean, it was cool, but it was just hard to get a main theme from the song, like you did from, let's say, you know, this section here, like the build up. Almost like the fluty sounds in the background. It was a lot of like small, like arpy sounds that had a lot of distortion and panning on them. And it was more like a collection of cool sounds, I would say, than more. It was hard to emotionally get into the drop, I would say. That's because, yeah, it was missing kind of a main theme. There was a lot of just cool sounds. I think maybe having something a little more consistent melodically in the drop would help with the song, tone back some of the crazy sounds a little bit. You can still have that crazy, unique sound that you have going in the track, which sounds cool, but also, you know, create more of an emotional connection with the audience. I think that's what it is missing a little bit. Just something to consider there. Also, I think the mixing, I mean, like it was a bit muddy, that kick sound. I'm not sure if it had like some stereo imaging on it. Another bass sound in there. It just sounded a bit muddy. I don't know, maybe look at the EQ parts of that to reduce some of the mud. Just something to consider. Also, with a lot of the panning going on, that's also what causes some of the confusion. Maybe you could just try to reduce some of the panning. You know, if you don't want to, you know, change any melodic elements or add any melodic elements, and you want to keep it as it is, maybe again just reduce some of the crazy panning you have. Make element. Just think about stereo spreading over panning instead, and I think that would help stabilize the track a little bit and have people understand the elements a bit better. Yeah, something that led the drop. I think that's really what would work. And again, you could still do your crazy, cool sounds that you have going everywhere. Just, I think, toning them down a bit and adding more, yeah, again, that emotional theme. I think that's really what it was missing. But, you know, overall, great track. You know, loving the creativity. Again, love the setup of the drop. Would love to hear more of the track. Would love to hear like the verse with like more of the melodic instruments playing, because I thought they sounded great. And I'd love to also hear also just more of the track as well. You know, only 126. So, you know, who knows? Future live streams could send this track on in. Would love to hear more of it. Also, love to see how the audience feels about the track as well. So that would be great to see. So thank you so much, Cabes, for sending on in the tune. Really do appreciate it. And it's actually going to do it for this week's live stream, everyone. That is going to do it. I want to thank you all so much for stopping on by. I really do appreciate it. A lot of cool, unique tunes in this stream. It really, I feel like I say that every week, but it is true. You know, some feedback streams, you hear the same type of music over and over, but with this stream, you get everything from hip-hop to crazy future tracks, to crazy dubstep tracks, to rhythm, to more melodic music, to 80s music. We got it all in this stream. Thank you so much for sending on in all your tracks again. I do appreciate it. So again, if you had one of your tracks played on this stream and you weren't able to get all the feedback, you weren't able to note everything, again, you can see the streams, the replay of the streams on the SoundShock Audio Twitch channel under the videos tab. They'll be under, this week's video will be under there for a few weeks, I believe. And also, if you go to the SoundShock Audio YouTube channel, which I highly recommend you guys do so, as it has some of the best and most in-depth tutorials on YouTube right now. I also put all the live streams up there, and they'll be up there forever. So again, if you missed some of the feedback, you can always go back and rewatch the stream and rewatch other people's tracks and the feedback that I give and the comments that people give as well, as that could definitely be helpful in the learning process there. And again, my name is Daniel with SoundShock Audio. Go ahead and leave you guys again with the SoundShock Audio link. I know it's been thrown through the stream, through the bots for a while now. But again, check out SoundShock Audio, as it has the largest collection of free, not only sample packs, but presets, DAW templates, music production apps. Definitely check it out, as well as a ton of plugins and contact instruments on the site. All for you for free. All you have to do is create an account with SoundShock Audio, and All you need for that is an email, a valid email, and you have access to the largest collection of free music production resources on the web right now. Fortunately, that was going to do it for this stream. There, Gallery Music. I do apologize. Have ran out of time. This is going to do it. And again, we're going to be running the live stream every Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. GMT time. Again, on the SoundShock Audio Twitch channel. On Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. GMT. That is the time of the live stream. Changed the live stream around this week as I was not able to make the Friday live stream. I do apologize for not being able to make it. Again, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Friday, 7 p.m. GMT. That is when we're going to do it. On Saturday, I guess we're doing it next Saturday. Actually, next Saturday is not. Unfortunately, the weekends aren't the best time for me to do live streams, as I'm usually not available Saturday or Sunday, and I don't know which day I'm available till that week. So I would say the weekends, at least. See, we can do it on the weekends. The problem is I won't know the day of. Or sorry, I won't know in advance. So we're going to stick with Friday for now, but we'll see if we can change it around in the future, because again, I don't want to be hopping around Saturday and Sunday, Saturday. I don't have a definite schedule on Saturday and Sunday, unfortunately. I do on Monday through Friday, so that's why we can consistently stream on Monday through Friday. Unfortunately, not this weekend as we are this week, as I did it on Sunday. So again, Friday, 12 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. GMT. Thank you all for sticking around. Avocado, Badado, Commander Roots, Psychomotion, Gallery Music, Gretchen, Halo, KRS, Joja1337, Lurks, Polizzi, Random Error Code, VNK and Virgo Pros. You guys are awesome. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your Sunday.